Dear student, myself Devashish Bose, Professor and Head, Department of Criminology and Forensic Science, Dr. Hari Singh Gaur University, Sagar. Today I am going to present a lecture on BSc first semester on the unit Introduction to Forensic Science. Let's start our discussion while taking a look at what we are going to learn today. Today we will start with Module 1, which will focus on Introduction and Definition of Investigation. Module 2 will be dedicated to Quality of Investigative Officer. Module 3 will be Goal of Investigative Officer. Module number 4 will be Methods of Investigation. Module 5 Guidelines for Investigator, and finally Module 6 will be our conclusion. We start with Module number 1. Dear students, here we shall understand investigation of crime and its existence in human society. First of all, I would like to explain the existence of crime. The history of crime dates back to ancient time. It arises with the origin of human society and his culture. When we turn the pages of history, we could find that there are tremendous evidence which support this fact. In social science, it is stated a cultural universal. So friends, for making peace in the society, there is certain laws. Agencies, formal government make rules and regulation that can be obeyed or disobeyed. If someone breaks these rules and regulation, who will be penalized by the court on the basis of investigation? Let's start with criminal investigation. So, before jumping to criminal investigation, we have to understand the term investigation. Basically, investigation term is derived from Latin word investigare, which means to trace out or to search into. Investigation means to collect all the facts and evidences which will help in the determination of victim, suspect, objective of crime, modus operandi of crime, and which all elements are necessary to convict the criminal. In brief, the main objective of investigation is to collect various types of evidence for the purpose of any inquiry or trial. The process of investigation can be different in civil as well as criminal cases. But investigation is a primary step which is conducted by the investigative agency, which may be the police, the CBI, the CID or other agencies, and it's usually start after lodging the first information report. In short, we say FIR in the police station. FIR deals with section 154 and 155 of the Criminal Procedure Code, or in short we can say CRPC. If the officer in charge of a police station suspects the commission of an offence from the statement of FIR, or when the magistrate directs or otherwise the officer or any subordinate officer is duty bound to proceed to the spot to investigate the facts and circumstances of the case and, if necessary, take measures for the discovery and arrest of offender. Investigation primarily consists of ascertaining the facts and circumstances of the case. It includes number 1, searching of scene of crime. Number 2, collection of evidence. Number 3, gathering of facts and information. Number 4, preserve and secure the scene of crime. Number 5, discovery of articles or objects used for the commission of crime. Number 6, interrogation and examination of various persons, including the accused, and taking of statements in writing. Number 7, arrest of the suspect. So dear students, here for the sake of simplicity, criminal investigation can be carried out in various types of crime, such as number 1, warrant case. Number 2, summon case. Number 3, bailable offences. Number 4, non-bailable offences. Number 5, cognizable offences. Number 6, non-cognizable offences. All type of cases can have slightly different type of steps, but they are almost same. Investigation mainly consists of ascertaining facts and circumstances of the case. It includes to search the scene of crime, whether it is indoor, outdoor, mobile or primary and secondary. Number 2, the recognition, preservation, collection, labeling, handling and transportation of the physical evidences. Next is to gather the information about the facts and circumstances. Identification of victims, recognition and arrest of suspect or the offender. Finally, searching of crime committed article or object, which we call object of crime. Establishing link between scene of crime, victim and suspect, which is very important. Dear students, in the figure which we have seen, it depicts that the relation between these all the facts. Interrogation, interview and examination of various persons who are related with the crime, criminal and scene of crime. Seize or search everything which is related to crime in any way. Once investigation is done, then investigating officer presents all the facts and evidence in front of the court. Every criminal case passes from these 3 steps, such as investigation, inquiry and trial. Here we are discussing only investigation. In forthcoming scripts, that will contain inquiry and trial. To get success in crime investigation, it depends upon the investigator's skill, knowledge and his health. So dear students, an investigator should have following type of qualities, such as health. When we talk about investigators, that health, that his mind and physical body must be healthy, because during the time of investigation, when he catches and runs behind the criminals, that time his body should work in an equal proportion. Otherwise, when contrary conditions will come, he will lose the criminal. If they will work properly, he can achieve good results. If he will have a poor health, he cannot solve cases. In health, he should not consume any kind of alcoholic products or drugs during investigation, because all these things can be harmful for investigation. For getting perfect health, his life should be balanced, his diet should be good and balanced, and he must do exercise daily. Second, honest and dedication. It is very necessary to investigative officer that ones must be honest and dedicated to their work. One must do their job with dedication and determination. Good memory. The memory of investigative officer must be excellent, because good memory will help investigative officer to solve and gather past and present information regarding the crime, criminal, modus operandi, anthropometric characteristic, wearing patterns of cloth, habits and other things which are related to the case. There are many criminal cases in the history which were solved just on the basis of investigators' memory. An investigating officer always must remember all the facts related to criminal and civil cases. Unbiasedness. Investigative officer always maintains an incredibility of their work. One must be unbiased to party. Investigative officers should not give special attention to particular party or person. It will affect investigation. Investigation cannot provide a justice to victim. Good behavior. While investigating cases, investigative officer should be gentle and disciplined, because if you have good behavior, people will help and support you, and easily you can solve your case. But in case of arrogance, people will get away from you. He will be afraid from you. Therefore, they will not reveal the truth. Your all effort will be useless, will be washed off to solve the case. This is psychological tendency. When you treat people with good behavior, with courtesy, They will make your path very easy and simple for investigation. Next, it's a patience. This is crucial characteristic of human being which is very necessary during investigation, because sometimes it happens after putting a lot of effort for solving cases, then investigative officer does not get success. In this situation, one should maintain their patience to their investigation and efforts. Persistence. One of them is persistence, which plays a significant role in the determination of crime, because sometimes investigative officer faces many complicated problems in the selection. He needs persistence to tackle the problem, which will prove a direction to investigation. Tireless capacity to work. One should have tireless capacity to work until the investigation is finished. Knowledge of procedure. Being an investigating officer, one should have knowledge about police and court procedure. It is crucial for investigative officer to have knowledge of Criminal Procedure Code, Indian Penal Code, Indian Evidence Act, Police Act, knowledge of forensic science, knowledge of recognition, preservation, collection, packaging, and handling of physical evidences. He should also have the knowledge of instrumental techniques for examination of physical evidences. Knowledge of subject. This is very important. One should have knowledge of each and every aspect of case during the time of investigation. Investigative officer must have knowledge of subject, which deals with knowledge of scene of crime and classification of scene of crime, management of scene of crime, that is information management, technology management, manpower management, logistic management. All these managements are very important. Searching methods of scene of crime, security of scene of crime, photography and sketching of scene of crime, knowledge of physical evidence and their classification, knowledge of evidence locating method, knowledge of spatial science technique, knowledge of crime scene reconstruction and idea of other modern technology for interrogation and inquiry of suspect and criminal. One should also have the knowledge of type crime, characteristic of types of crime, investigation of different type of crime, and changing pattern of type of crime. Next is knowledge of available facilities. Investigative officers should have knowledge of all the available facilities which would help in the investigation of crime, such as teleforensics and telecommunication technology. If available, facility means all the things which would help in the investigation, like experts, that is forensic experts, institutes, that is forensic institutes and other government authorized institutes, and laboratories, that is forensic science laboratory and other government authorized laboratory. Apart from all, one can also use other facilities such as Fingerprint Bureau, Question Document Examination, National Crime Records Bureau, and Modus Operandi Bureau. Next is knowledge of topography. Being a police officer, one should have knowledge of all the geographical conditions of that area. That means he should be well versed with the terrain. Next is trends of crime in the area. It means what type of crime are committed in that area, such as thefts, accident, murder, suicide, homicide, burglary, dacoity, dowry, robbery, bribery, and sexual assaults. These are just examples. Ability to read a person. Investigative officers should have the ability to judge a person. It depends on several factors, such as experience, psychology, and mental alertness of the investigative officer. Correct observation. Correct observation of investigative officer can help in the investigation of crime. During the time of investigation, one should use his or her 5 senses. Incorrect observation can mislead the investigation of crime. So, while investigating the crime, it would help to investigative officer to identify the victim, suspect, scene of crime, and physical evidences. Next is curiosity. Your investigative officer should be curious about the things which will help him or her in the determination of those things which were not revealed while investigation. Suspicion. Suspicion is a good character of investigative officer which will help to find out the directly and indirectly involvement of person in a crime. Next, knowledge of corpus delicti. It means essential elements of crime, which proves that a crime has occurred. For example, in case of a theft, broken almirah is corpus delicti evidence. Moreover, in a case of murder, dead body is a corpus delicti evidence. Tacts. Self-control and characters. This is a good character which helps in the investigation of crime. While investigating the case, one should not hurt to someone for respect and something else. Investigators play a crucial role in the determination of crime, whether it is cognizable or non-cognizable case. One should apply their knowledge, skill and experience to solve the case. Investigative officer can perform various roles such as to lodge FIR. Investigative officer lodges FIR against crime and procedure ahead. After lodging FIR, investigative officer should move to the scene of crime. After reaching there, one should secure and preserve the scene of crime. It is very important. If victim is in living condition, that is, he is still alive, then at that time, give him primary treatment and send the victim to the hospital. Make a panchanama and fill all related information regarding the case. Next, to identify innocent and suspect. Investigative officer should determine who is innocent and who is the suspect in the case. Next is to identify victim and provide primary treatment to the victim. Identification of victim is also an important step because he is the real witness of the crime. Moreover, crime is committed against him or her. So, without contaminating the scene of crime and physical evidence, investigative officer or the first responding officer should provide him or her, the victim, primary treatment to remove onlookers from the scene of crime. For securing and avoiding contamination to the scene of crime, all the onlookers should be debarred from that area. To barricade the scene of crime, make barricade at the scene of crime. That will help in the investigation and securing the scene of crime. To preserve the scene of crime. Dear student, as we know that everything is changing with the passing of time, nothing is permanent. So we need to preserve the scene of crime. Otherwise, it will lose its real identity with passage of time. Photography and sketching are used as a method for preserving a scene of crime. That will help in the investigation of crime after destroying a scene of crime, even after long time. Next, to investigate scene of crime and collect information. Investigation of crime is performed by investigative officer at the scene of crime. One conducts investigation in various types of crime such as murder, suicide, accident, homicide, sexual assault, forgery, fraud, insurance claims, etc. To inform court and appear suspect in a court of law. After getting information about the crime, investigating officer should inform the court and he or she, that is the suspect, should appear in the court of law within 24 hours of his or her arrest. A civil or criminal investigator is a one who gathers facts and information related to case for resolving it, in which the investigative officer achieve their aim, that is, to identify the victim, to recognize scene of crime, to identify the probable suspect, to link scene of crime physical evidences, suspect and victim, then finally resolve the case. When an investigating officer investigates a case, at the time he should use various types of investigative tools and techniques to resolve the case. The tools and techniques of the investigators are, for sake of simplicity, this can be divided into following parts. A. Information, B. Interrogation, and C. Instrumentation. We start with part A, information. This is the first step of investigation, whether it is a civil or a criminal case. In this, the investigating officer gathers facts and thoughts from other persons who were present or related with crime. Information plays a significant role in the crime detection, which can be acquired from various sources, and it can exist in oral form also, written statements or documents, or it could be in the form of pattern evidence. Information often links a suspect to crime scene, approve or disapprove an alibi, or to develop leads. There are various types of information which can be used for solving a crime. It can be divided into following parts. Information from victims. To collect information from victims, it is utmost important because it provides investigative leads to the investigator. Before proceeding for information gathering, the investigator should make formats in which he will decide from which point to start. Once a victim has been identified, they should be made to locate the victim's family, friends, and associate. Moreover, they should also locate how did he or she arrive there and other specific information related to the victim. While collecting information, investigative officer should keep in mind each and every point regarding the information. Next, information from witness. Witness is also very important to investigating officer who will provide a specific direction to investigation. Witness may be of various types such as common or ordinary witness. Common witness is a person who may be present or may not be present at the scene of crime and who can provide some general information about the crime. No specialized knowledge is required in tendering evidence. Suppose, for example, an auto rickshaw driver who saw an accident on the highway could serve as an ordinary witness. Dear student, let's take another example to clarify this. A watchman of a bank who became a testimony of a quarrel or a snatching in front of his bank. These are the examples. Next, expert witness. According to Section 45 of Indian Evidence Act, expert witness is a person who is skilled or trained in some specific or technical subject and is capable of drawing conclusion and opinions from the facts observed by himself or noticed by other. This is what is defined. For example, a forensic scientist or an expert in firearm or an expert in toxicology or a DNA analyst. Next, hostile witness. Who is this hostile witness? A hostile witness is a person who changes whole or part of the truth and offers adverse testimony against his own earlier statement. Next, information gathered from general public. They should ask from the onlookers or general public who were present during that time of committing a crime. Next is information from informants or informers. Throughout the years, informants or informers have proved to be a valuable endowment for investigator. Informers may be valuable for the investigation, but before relying on their information, investigative officer should cross-check whether his or her information is true or not. Maybe sometime they are fictitious. Next, first responding officer. To collect information from the first responding officer who will be the first to reach at the scene of crime after it had happened is very important. Information from scene of crime. Scene of crime is a place where all activities have been done or had taken place by the victim and the suspect. So, it is the most important witness within itself which will reveal the hidden information in the form of evidence or in the form of scientific evidence. Dear students, people lie, evidence doesn't. Therefore, investigative officers should take extreme care while handling the scene of crime. Next is information from suspect. Here, investigating officer should apply the image of principal with the suspect to the scene, the victim or physical evidences associated with the investigation, which is vital for solving that particular case. Next, we come to the another point, that is interrogation. Interrogation includes interviewing of suspect. Interrogation may include diverse technique which helps in the questioning of suspect. By instead of applying physical means of interrogative techniques, the effectiveness of interrogation depends on the skill, art, logic and psychological insight of the investigating officer. Next, we come to the final point, that is instrumentation. An investigator refers physical evidence to a forensic science laboratory for extracting information scientifically. It involves the application of principles and methods of basic science to the investigation of crime. For example, biology offers such aids as examination of blood or biological fluids, species determination, disputed paternity, and in crime of physical violence. Physics, for instance, photography and the optical methods of analysis. Chemistry, for example, comprises the analysis and examination of samples of chemical origin or toxicological origin. Here we will be discussing some ideal guideline for the investigating officer who will help in the investigation of the case, and one can also become a successful investigating officer. So let's start with this. First of all, investigating officer should decide whether the crime has been committed or not. Identification of the corpus delicti. Identification of modus operandi. Investigating officer should not deviate from his path. Investigating officer should not think about the culprit because of his caste, religion, society, sex, etc. Investigating officer should identify the motive behind the crime. Investigating officer should collect the detailed information for the case. Investigating officer should secure the scene of crime. Preservation, collection, handling and transportation of physical evidence from the scene of crime is also his duty. One should apply his own logic to the investigation of crime. Scene of crime should be minutely observed and examined from any possible entry and exit point. Investigating officer should work with the team spirit. This is very important. Dear student, investigation is an art, not a science, but with the help of principles, theories and techniques applied to the science, one can make it more effective and simple for solving a crime. So nowadays, a lot of modern techniques are available which helps in the investigation. Investigation varies from crime to crime. Therefore, investigative officer should keep in mind that from where he should start and where he should end. While investigating the case, investigating officer should not be biased also. Thank you. Thank you for your kind hearing.